Finally, at last, we are coming to how to read ledger lines, which is super important. If you haven't had a chance to take a look at my previous lesson where I talked about how to read music notes, make sure that you check that one in the description box. It covers all of the bass clef lines and spaces, treble clef lines and spaces, as well, of course, as your middle C. That will be a very great place to start. I will include that video down in the description box if you would like more information about that. So let's get started. If you remember and had a chance to take a look at our previous lesson on how to read music, we went through all of the lines in the bass clef and treble clef, as well as the spaces in both the treble and bass clef. So with you knowing that, hopefully already, you would know that this top line right here is an A. If you go one note higher than that, it just follows the alphabet. So this would be your B, and this right here would be your middle C. It is also sometimes called C4. You can go higher though too. This right here would be your D, and you can keep on adding lines and spaces. E, F, and so on and so forth. You just have to follow the pattern of the alphabet. When we take a look at the treble clef, we know that the bottom line right here is E. One note lower than E is your D. One note lower than your D is your middle C, or C4, and you can keep on going down. Here's your B, your A, your G, and you could just keep on going down, and your F. Now, you might be wondering, why in the world would I use these notes in between? Because, for instance, this F right here is the same as if I were to play that F in the bass clef. It is the same note. Here is the difference. The reason why I would use ledger lines in the middle is because maybe I wanted that F to be played by the right hand. So if I want that F to be played by the right hand, because let's say I had my bass clef, I was playing this F down here, and I didn't think I could make that reach down there at the same time, and I wanted this F to be played with the right hand, then you need to use ledger lines, because the ledger lines help to show what is going to be played with the right hand and what is going to be played with the left hand. Now, another question that I have often gotten from my students is, why don't we just increase these lines even more? Like, why does it have to be just 5 lines? Why don't we just keep on going? But you can imagine, if I just keep on trying those lines, very soon it becomes very confusing as to what note are you playing if you have a staff that has 20 lines. The brain can pretty much comprehend about 5 lines of information. If you add any more, it's just too much. So the treble and bass clef cover the notes that you play the very most. For the few notes that are quite a bit higher or quite a bit lower, these are really important to have use, but these are important to use, but they aren't used very often. So this makes it so that it's very easy to read, and for the rare occasion that you do go to those high or low notes, you can figure out what they are. So you would know from the bass clef, if you watched our other video, that this note was a G, and you can keep on going down. So if I go one note lower than G, the note before G in the alphabet is F, and keep on following the alphabet going down. E, D, C, B, A. Now we're going to deal with the treble clef going up. So this note, you would know from our other video that this note is an F, and keep going up. G, A, B, C, D, E, and you can keep on going up or down an infinity amount, but you probably wouldn't want to go too far, but you can just keep on going more and more and more and more and more. So you might be wondering if there is a very simple way to remember this quickly, because if you remember from our other video on how to read music, we had little phrases that helped us to remember the lines and the spaces, and it was great for memory's sake, but this can be a little overwhelming on how to deal with the alphabet. So here's a little trick that I learned. If you take the 3 ledger lines, and you don't usually go much further than that, to be honest. I mean, occasionally you go a little bit more. If you take the 3 lower ledger lines, this one, 3 down is A, and then you have C, and then you have E. So it spells ace backwards. But the other interesting thing is if you go above the treble clef, you also get ace as well. So ace and ace. Notes. Now, of course, if let's say you had a note that was in a space here, so let's say it was this note, well, you'd be able to see that this was a C. So one note lower than the C in between these two notes is your B, because B comes in between A and C in the alphabet. Well, I really hope that you enjoyed today's lesson talking about ledger lines. Now, you will know, because I say this quite often, you will only get better at reading ledger lines if you practice it. Everything in music only gets better with practice. If you don't practice, you won't learn it. Just watching a video in itself is not enough. So make sure that you have some type of theory sheet to help you to practice it, or some type of flashcard. If you'd like a theory sheet, I do have a link down in the description where I've put together a theory sheet that goes along with this lesson. So make sure to check out that if that is something that interests you, if you don't already have a theory book that would help you with that. As well, I would really like to take the time to encourage you to put any questions that you have about how to read music, or any other questions. Is there something else that you would like to learn on the piano, or even singing, because I am a piano and vocal teacher? I would love if you left it in the comments so that I can make a video about the things that you are passionate about learning. So make sure to leave that comment, like, subscribe if you like the video, and ring the bell for the notifications for more piano and vocal lessons for your musical adventure.